What is going on, everyone? Back at it like them crack addicts. We're hammering out another best ball draft today, waiting in the lobby as usual to get going. Last year, I was stuck with the number 8 and 9 picks, and I constantly have been getting 11 and 12. We got a few from the 101 spot I did live, but other than that, it's been rough. And I feel like I've been drafting the same players, albeit kind of different. One draft, I might get Jonathan Taylor and Jahmyr Gibbs. One, I might take Jonathan Taylor and AJ Brown, and then I'll do Gibbs and Brown. But it sucks. Haven't had a chance to draft from picks 3 to 7, so I'm missing out on Chase. I'm on Ross St. Brown, Brees Hall. Haven't gotten any of those players. So hopefully today we can get one of those spots. If you're new to best ball and want to give it a shot, I'm going to give you guys some tips I use in these drafts. And starting with number one is stacking. This one's pretty easy. You want to draft the quarterback and the wide receivers from the same team. Tight end too, not so much the running back. Sometimes maybe the running back, but I try not to. And I try to stack with all the QBs I draft in the same best ball tournament. So say I take Cooper Kupp and Marvin Harrison. I'm looking to draft Kyler Murray and Matt Stafford. Not so much a tip there, but it's important. Next is knowing what teams drafted ahead of you. Like, for example, if I have pick 10 and I want to draft a quarterback, but teams 11 and 12 already have a quarterback, maybe hitting other positions. And then when it comes back to you, you take a quarterback. It's important to know who's behind you as well. You want to make sure that you know what they have so that you know what to draft. And in order to play that game of maybe guys coming back to you. The next is value. This one obviously speaks for itself as well. If a player is slipping for whatever reason, besides injuries, you take them. Roster construction. I usually do 3 quarterbacks, 6 running backs, 8 wide receivers, and 3 tight ends. Now, sometimes it's 5 running backs, 9 wide receivers, but in that range. I did a draft last week where someone took 13 wide receivers. He now only has 7 spots open for a quarterback, tight end, and running back. Don't do that. You want to have a balance. Last year, we saw a lot of quarterbacks injured. So if you had Cousins and Rodgers as your only quarterback, you were fucked. Having that third one is important. Now, don't draft Allen, Prescott, and Patrick Mahomes. If you draft an early quarterback, you can wait for another way later, rounds 11 and 12, to take your next one. Then take a chance later to get guys like Bryce Young, Bo Nix, Drake May, Sam Darnold. I see a lot of people on the Bo Nix train due to one preseason game. And let me just say, we all thought Kenny Pickett was the man last year because of one preseason game. And now he's watching from the sidelines. And lastly, the way you draft is not how you should for redraft leagues. This is a completely different tournament, different style. There's no trades, there's no waivers, there's nothing like that. So don't do the same. I don't draft probably the same way, I think, that I would in a redraft league. Stacking to me isn't typically important. Dak and CeeDee Lamb won a lot of fantasy championships last year. That was a good stack. There were some other good stacks. It's just not that important to do in redraft leagues. So how I draft, especially kind of like the big money tournaments that we're going to do today, not a big money, but a $20 buy-in for this best ball league tournament, whatever. These guys are pretty good. Those $3 ones, they're okay. But these $20 ones, these guys are actually really, really paying attention, and it's a little different. So how I draft here is not really how I would in redraft leagues. We have seen some injuries, most notably guys like Jalen Warren, Hollywood Brown, going to miss some time, obviously, JJ McCarthy, DeAndre Hopkins. So bump up guys like Xavier Worthy, Najee Harris, Sam Darnold, and Calvin Ridley. And also Jahan Dotson was traded to the Eagles, I think, for a third round pick. There were some other picks involved between the teams, I think like a fifth and a seventh. I'm not sure which one got which, whatever. I don't think this really changes anything with like guys like AJ Brown and Devontae Smith. It is something, to look at. And, he's a third string wide receiver, or not third string, but he's the third wide receiver in that offense. So, not good for the Commanders. I think trading him away kind of was a little bit of a mistake. I know he had a good first year, not so good last year. And I think taking away a target from, a rookie quarterback, Jaden Daniels, I think that kind of, that's not good. And, Terry McLaurin now, obviously, I think people are going to take him a little sooner. You got guys like Luke McCaffrey, who they drafted, took in the third round. Could he be bumped up? De'Ami Brown, Ben Sinnott, those guys I guess could get bumped up, but I don't think by much. I'm gonna take a break real quick, and when I come back, let's do some best ball. All right, guys, I'm back, and guess what? We have pick 11. Just like I predicted, just like I've been getting all fucking season, picks 11 and 12. I can't fucking stand it. I'm hoping that maybe some players fall, I guess, in this draft. Like CeeDee Lamb, he still hasn't signed. Jamar Chase, he's looking for a contract. There's a lot of things going on at the top of the draft. Christian McCaffrey, obviously, he's been dealing with an injury. So having those top picks is a little difficult now. I have a lot of or I have some drafts with CeeDee Lamb. I have drafts with Tyreek Hill. I don't have Jamar Chase yet, and this might even if he falls to me at pick 11, I'll probably take him. But I'm still going to be like, oh man, do I really take him? Do I not? But you can't let him fall because we talked about value. If we're going to let that guy slip into like the second round and somebody's able to pair Justin Jefferson with Jamar Chase, can you imagine that? So not a good start. So we're starting off the draft, and it's Christian McCaffrey. Who the hell else would it be? Obviously, it could be either CeeDee Lamb or Tyreek Hill. And pick number 2 goes, I think that was pick number 2. Hold on, let me check the draft board real quick. Yeah, pick 2 was Tyreek Hill, and then pick 3 was Amon-Ra St. Brown. So, like we talked about with CeeDee Lamb, he is probably slipping in drafts because he hasn't signed that deal yet, and people are a little worried. Pick 4 is Breece Hall. So, pick 5, he's got some decisions to make. He could take CeeDee Lamb here or risk it, and he does. He does take CeeDee Lamb, and that's a pretty good pick. Usually Lamb goes in that top 3. It's McCaffrey, Lamb, and Hill. They go 1, 2, 3, however way. And he got him in pick 5, so pretty good. Justin Jefferson off the board, Bijan Robinson off the board. So we're not going to be getting anybody really good. I see Jamar Chase slipping, obviously. We talked about he's here at pick number 8, and he does get taken. So all right, pretty good. Garrett Wilson goes next, and we are almost on the clock, so I guess I should probably be paying attention. It's going to be one of two guys, and it's probably going to be either AJ Brown or Jonathan Taylor. We could look at, we could take Saquon, we could take a Gibbs, but probably not going to do that as well. And this guy's just letting the time run down. He doesn't know who to take, and it is AJ Brown. So we are going to start off this draft with Jonathan Taylor. I usually like to take a wide receiver, but I don't like Puka. Uh, Marvin Harrison, not going to take him. So yeah, Marvin Harrison obviously goes next. And so does Saquon Barkley. So that works out pretty good for us because with our next pick, we are going to take Karen Williams. So I went running back, and probably going to stay away from running back for a while. And usually when you're at these picks 11 and 12, I noticed a lot a lot of people double up on the running backs. It's Jonathan Taylor, Saquon Barkley, Garrett Williams, Jahmyr Gibbs. Those are usually the 4 that kind of fall at pick 11 and 12. So usually these two teams, 11, 12, sometimes 10, walk out with 2 running backs and then look to completely avoid that position and then attack wide receivers, tight ends. And that's a good, you know, the more I look at it, I guess the double running back isn't that bad. But I would like to get one of these top receivers, but obviously that didn't happen. And after my pick of Karen Williams, we have Jahmyr Gibbs, Drake London, who's skyrocketing up boards. You could have got him earlier a few weeks ago, and you could have got him at the end of the second round. Now you got to get him in the first 3 or 4 picks of the second round, or he's gone. Devon Achane also, he's being taken really high now, right after Drake London, Deebo Samuel, Puka Nacua. How about Puka Nacua? All the way here in the middle at pick 7 in the second round. Cooper Kupp, his teammate, goes right after him. Another guy that's been jumping up boards, Derrick Henry, Nico Collins, Chris Olave. A lot of wide receivers go in these first 2 rounds. Closing out round 2, we got Davante Adams, and he opens up with Isaiah Pacheco. So nice for team 1. He's got McCaffrey and Pacheco. I expect Pacheco to be the number 1, obviously the number 1 running back in Kansas City. I don't even know if anybody's competing for that spot at all. So he looks to be the bell cow. Travis Etienne, Mike Evans, Rashee Rice, all the way here in the middle of the 3rd round. And obviously now that he's not being suspended, or it seems like he's not being suspended, he was going in rounds 6, 7, 8. You can get him really late. And now here he is, middle of the 3rd. So now that there's some clarity there, Now you can see where he's going. Jalen Waddle goes after Rashee Rice, Malik Neighbors here, DK Metcalf, Devontae Smith. We got a lot of guys. Oh man, there are a lot of wide receivers coming off that. I was hoping running back would be more popular, but definitely not the case here. It's wide receivers. We got a couple teams that start. We have 4 teams that started off with 3 straight wide receivers. So that's killing us right now. The good thing about it is that we're 3 picks away, and there are 2 really good tight ends on the board. And of course, as soon as I mention it, one of them goes, and I am on the clock. And it's looking oof. You could take Brandon Ayuk here. I would like to get some Ayuk, but it's a little risky considering you don't know what is happening. So what I'm going to do is take Sam Laporta. I know he's got a little bit of an injury right now, but I'm still kind of hoping that Sam Laporta works out. So Jonathan Taylor, Kieran Williams, Sam Laporta, and then I'm hoping that I can get a wide receiver because there are a couple here that I like. Michael Pittman, Stephon Diggs, Tank Dell, and Tank Dell goes off the board to close out round 3. And he drafted T. Higgins, which is cool because we are going to take. I know a lot of people aren't really that high on Stephon Diggs, but I don't see. We could take Josh Jacobs. I love Josh Jacobs. I've said that before, but I'm okay. I'm good. I got a couple of drafts with him in there. I would like to take Michael Pittman, but I already have Jonathan Taylor, and I don't want to stack like that. So I'm going to take Stephon Diggs here. Kind of unfortunate there. The round before saw a lot of wide receivers go. Looking at maybe Rashee Rice, or I don't know if I would have taken him here in the 3rd round, maybe the 4th round. But Rashee Rice, DK Metcalf, DJ Moore, guys that I was hoping that were going to fall to me definitely did. And I didn't expect and then the guy that, one of the teams that have 3 wide receivers also took a 4th wide receiver. So wide receivers are coming off the board very quickly. And Josh Jacobs goes right after Pittman. And this team has Jamar Chase, Devon Achane, Devontae Smith, Josh Jacobs. And in the first 36 picks, we see 11 running backs and 2 tight ends, and then the rest are wide receivers. First quarterback off the board is Patrick Mahomes, and he paired him with Travis Kelce. So good stack there. After Jacobs, we see George Pickens. Brandon Ayuk goes here in the middle of the 4th round. Josh Allen in the middle of the 4th round. Xavier Worthy here toward the end of the 4th round. Wow, but he's got Rashee Rice. But he paired Xavier Worthy with Rashee Rice. I like that, but he doesn't have Patrick Mahomes. And to me, I feel like the stack needs to work with the quarterback. Maybe it doesn't, but I think it would be better if you did that. So him kind of taking Worthy here really doesn't make a lot of sense here. He could have just pivoted. And then Jalen Hurts goes at the end of the 4th. Rachaad White and Amari Cooper closes out round 4. Calvin Ridley goes here to start off round 5. You got Ken Walker, Trey McBride, Lamar Jackson. Now, I'm not really looking at running back here. I'm more looking, and not obviously tight end. I'm probably out on those positions for right now. So it's quarterback and wide receiver. Now I have Stephon Diggs. Do I think CJ Stroud is going to make it all the way back to us? Probably not. Considering he might fall to us, but after Jackson goes Dalton Kincaid, James Cook, we're 4 picks away. So maybe we can get a Stroud here to go with Stephon Diggs, and we have the pick before the guy who took Tank Dell. So it's probably smart to take the quarterback. If he does fall, he may not. We're hoping Zay Flowers goes next, but it's probably smart to take the quarterback before him, because if I don't take a quarterback here, that guy is definitely going to take CJ Stroud. Terry McLaurin, Keenan Allen come off the board. I highly doubt this guy with Patrick Mahomes is going to take Stroud, so we might be lucking out here. Let's put CJ Stroud in the queue just in case anything does happen. If the computer decides to shut off, or if we have a random hurricane. Oh, and the guy before, how does that happen? Why would you do that? Oh my God, the guy who just took Patrick Mahomes now just took CJ Stroud. How does that happen, dude? How does that fucking happen? So we're going to take Chris Godwin. We've been taking Chris Godwin. I like Chris Godwin. But damn, I don't know if that's that guy just trying to fuck with us. It could be. But I don't know, man. I don't know what this guy is fucking thinking. I have no idea. Oh my goodness. That totally fucking kind of kills us, you know? Uh, we could take a quarterback here. I don't want any of these quarterbacks. Not right now. I'm gonna keep drafting wide receivers and running backs, and then we'll worry about that. So we started off with two running backs, and then went Sam Laporta to get our tight end, and then we got Stephon Diggs, Chris Godwin, and Rome Dunze at our wide receiver. So looking pretty good. I cannot believe that this guy took CJ Stroud. I don't understand that. That the only thing I can honestly think of. You don't see that in these rounds 4 through 5, and he only has one wide receiver. He came back and drafted Christian Kirk after I drafted Adunze, but in the first 5 rounds, he took two quarterbacks, and you don't usually see that, and that sometimes usually hurts you if you do that. I don't know why he did that. The only thing I can think of is that I had Diggs and the other guy had Dell, and he was just trying to be that guy, and he took him. And I understand that, but ugly. Also, too, for the Team 12, he has Marvin Harrison Jr., so he went with Kyler Murray to start off round 6, which is cool. So he was probably either way thinking, okay, I'm good. Now, I could have taken Kyler Murray and completely fucked him over, but for now, I'm going to try to just stack up on wide receivers and running backs, and I have Chris Godwin and Rome Dunze, who I can maybe get Caleb Williams. I can get Baker Mayfield to pair with those guys. But quarterbacks aren't going that. We see 6 quarterbacks through the first 6 rounds. So I guess that's pretty normal, but I'm going to try to keep hammering out wide receivers and running backs. I'm still in a lot of shock that CJ Stroud got taken with the guy that has Patrick Mahomes. I don't get it. I really don't. I don't see he could have taken a wide receiver. He could have taken a running back. He has one running back and he has two wide receivers. And he attacked tight end, and he attacked two quarterbacks through his first 6 picks. I don't think that's a smart move at all. So let's run through round 6. Christian Kirk went after my pick. Kyle Pitts, George Kittle, Keon Coleman, James Conner, Jaden Reed, Christian Watson, Alvin Kamara, Anthony Richardson, Joe Mixon close out round 6. Deontay Johnson opens up round 7. Aaron Jones, David Montgomery, and Jordan Love here goes right. Oh man, look at this. This is a screwy draft. We had Christian Watson go to team 4, and he drafted Jordan Love. And team 5 drafted Jaden Reed. So he was probably hoping Jordan Love was going to come. So like I said, pay attention to who's in front of you and who's before you. You want to make, you don't want to make mistakes like that, because chances are Jordan Love was not coming back, because I would have taken Jordan Love coming up here. But Jordan Love was not going to come back to this guy. So he had to make the move for Jordan Love, and he was able to pair Christian Watson with him. Man, we're seeing a lot of quarterbacks come off the board here. Now that I mentioned that quarterbacks were coming off the board, quarterbacks are coming off the board now. And Joe Burrow and Jaden Daniels go after. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Jordan Love went, and then Brian Thomas, Evan Ingram, Joe Burrow, Jaden Daniels, Najee Harris. And then I'm up. Nope. Actually, the guy that screwed me over CJ Stroud is up before me. Now, if he takes another quarterback, I'm going to be fucking tight. I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think he's that stupid. I see Dak Prescott still up here. I guess we can take him. But here's what I'm going to do. Because the guy already has a running or a wide receiver ahead of us, let's take a look at some other positions. I like Jake Ferguson. I'm going to take Jake Ferguson here to get my second tight end. And then let's see what Team 12 does. He takes Raheem Mostert, and he goes with Hollywood Brown. So everything worked out. And our quarterback is going to be Dak Prescott, which is cool. And now we compare Dak Prescott with Jake Ferguson, and looking pretty good. We could have taken a Caleb Williams to go with Roman Dunze, which is also there's a good chance I might get Caleb Williams the next round. We got a couple of teams already with two quarterbacks. The guy that drafted Jordan Love with Christian Watson, he's already got Lamar Jackson. He's got him, and he's got Derrick Henry. So I don't really like that one. I don't like to do that. I don't like to have a quarterback and a running back from the same team. Now, quarterback, wide receiver, or tight end, different story. But if you're going to draft the running back and the quarterback from the same team, that kind of sucks. And after my pick of Dak Prescott went Ladd McConkey, Jalen Warren, Tony Pollard, Ramondre Stevenson, and Jameson Williams. Now back to my last 2 picks with Jake Ferguson and Dak Prescott. I knew that guy, Team 12, had a quarterback. Yes, I said the same thing about Team 10, how we could have gotten CJ Stroud. This guy's an idiot. But here in these later rounds, he might have taken Jake Ferguson. He has Mark Andrews. He might have taken Ferguson. He might have not. I don't know. But I took my chances of taking Ferguson first and then taking Prescott after that. So after Jameson Williams, we see Khalil Shakir, Romeo Dobbs. Nice job here by this team four. He's got Dobbs, Jordan Love, and Christian Watson. I don't really like Dobbs. Dobbs was on my radar, but he was taken here to stack with his Packer stack, which is awesome. Having a Packer stack is really, really good. Now, if he takes Dontavian Wicks here, probably a little too early for that, but he didn't. After Dobbs goes DeAndre Swift, David Njoku, and Brock Bowers to close out round 8. And open up round 9, we have Jared Goff, DeAndre Hopkins, Devin Singletary, Jonathan Brooks. Now, this guy, Team 3, went 3 straight wide receivers, and then now in the last 4 rounds, he's just drafted running backs. Kamara, Montgomery, Swift, and Singletary. Not bad. Don't really care too much about Alvin Kamara, though. Now, coming up on our pick, we could draft Caleb Williams here because we are a little worried. The teams, let's see, in front of us, this guy has one quarterback. This guy has one. This guy has no quarterback, though, and he's got DJ Moore. So we might be in trouble with that. He might be taking Caleb Williams here. I don't think there's a question. Pat Fryermuth off the board. We're waiting on this guy. This guy's the only guy I'm worried about for Caleb Williams. So let's see what happens. Cortland Sutton goes, and there goes Zamir White. So he did not take Caleb Williams. He went with Zamir White. Now, if we can get by this fucking asshole Team 10 with Caleb Williams, then we're probably going to take him. And we got 2 quarterbacks, and then we're going to move on from quarterback for a long time and tight end and hammer out those running backs and wide receivers. Now, looking at some of these quarterback or running backs and wide receivers, I don't mind them, but I'm going to take my shot and draft Caleb Williams here. And I went back-to-back quarterbacks. And this team went Brian Robinson, Raheem Mostert, and he took Josh Palmer, which is awesome for us. Now let's take a look at some running backs. The guy I see up here that I usually draft is Austin Eckler. I don't really have a lot of Tajay Spears. Maybe drafting Tajay Spears here would be a nice little thing here. Running back wise, it's probably going to be Tajay Spears. Let's go Tajay Spears. I'm not going to take Eckler here. I usually do take Eckler here in this draft, and with the news of Jahan Dotson getting traded, maybe there's fewer pass catchers, and Austin Eckler is a fantastic, obviously, receiver out of the backfield. He catches a lot of passes, and if he can get 60 to 70 catches this year, that would be fantastic. The problem with that is that I have Austin Eckler in a lot of leagues, and Tajay Spears is ranked right next to him. Maybe he falls to us too. I don't think that's going to happen. He's literally the next guy and there he goes. He just went. So that's why I said it was either between Spears and Eckler, because these guys are not going to come back to you. And realize that too. Realize that from where, another tip in any draft, from where you are, do they have a chance to come back to you or do they not? And if they do not, you take them. And because you will be kicking yourself later and saying, I should have taken that guy here instead of this guy. And that always comes back to bite you. So after my pick of Tajay Spears went Rico Dowdle, Kirk Cousins, Austin Eckler, Zach Moss, Trevor Lawrence. Now these $20 draft or these $20 buy-ins are a lot different from the $3 ones that I do. These guys are actually really, really good players. Those $3 ones, some people just use them as practice, and I do too. I kind of use those ones to get me ready for these $20 ones. And now that we're getting closer to the season, we're seeing a lot of starters being named. We're seeing, people get cut. Obviously, there's some injuries. People haven't signed yet, so it's still a little difficult to do these drafts. Guys like CeeDee Lamb and Jamar Chase, what's going to happen with them? What's going to happen? And it's not like we're talking about 6th, 7th, 8th round picks. These guys are going in the top 5. So things need to happen. And we're doing my draft. My home league is next Saturday, and I've picked 3. So I don't know what to do. I have no idea what to do. My buddy has number 1, and he keeps telling me he has no idea what he's going to do. He doesn't know, and I don't know what the hell I'm going to do. So after, let's see, where did I leave off? Trevor Lawrence, was it? Jerome Ford, Tua Tagovailoa, Dallas Goedert, Dontavian Wicks, Gus Edwards, and Gus Edwards closed out round 10. Then went Jordan Addison. Jordan Addison, wow, what a fall he's taken. And that's why I mentioned in one of my episodes guys that I'm off of, and one of them is Jordan Addison for sure. And he's fallen all the way down here to round 11. And now that could be good, but I don't think Addison's going to have the year that he did last year. Nick Chubb here goes in the beginning of round 11. Tyler Lockett, Jacoby Myers, Gabe Davis. Matt Stafford goes after Gabe Davis, Dalton Schultz, Rashid Shaheed, Mike Williams, Blake Corum, and I am on the clock. And Brandon Cooks is here, and I have Dak Prescott and Jake Ferguson. And who knows what's going to happen with CeeDee Lamb? Does he play week one? Who knows? So let's take Brandon Cooks. I think he'll have a pretty good season this year. Last year wasn't so great, but not too bad. Brandon Cooks is still a good player. And pick 12 goes with Taysom Hill. Ooh, nice pick there. I was hoping to maybe get him later in the draft, way later in the draft, but not going to happen. Curtis Samuel, he opens up round 12, and I'm on the clock, and I'm looking at another running back here, and it's going to be Chuba Hubbard. I like Chuba Hubbard. I know Jonathan Brooks is going 2-3 rounds before him, but Chuba Hubbard is going to start the season, I think. I think Jonathan Brooks, he's probably going to end up on maybe he won't play the first 4 weeks. I don't know. Maybe they put him on IR. And maybe they slowly bring him in. So Chuba Hubbard for the first maybe 2 months, maybe not toward the end of the year, but for the first 2 months, Chuba Hubbard is probably going to do very well. And he might fall off toward the end of the year, which is fine. This is why you have multiple running backs, and you're here in round 12. These guys most likely maybe won't be much, but I like Chuba Hubbard. I like him a lot this year. Trey Benson goes after Chuba Hubbard, Aaron Rodgers, Donnie Mitchell, Justin Herbert. I think this guy has Ladd McConkey, right? Nope, he does not. J.K. Dobbins, Tyler Algier, nice pick here. I like him a lot. Does this guy have Bijan? He does not have Bijan. So that's awesome too. He has Tyler Algier and he doesn't have Bijan. So if a Bijan injury happens, he automatically has another number one running back, which is awesome. Cole Kmet, who sucks, TJ Hawkinson, not whatever, Jerry Jeudy and Ezekiel Elliott close out round 12. Let's go to the queue here because we are coming up very fast. These guys are picking like maniacs. I mean, it's literally, they are just pick. These guys know exactly who they want. I mentioned Ricky Pearsall also too. I see him kind of coming up here, and I don't even know if he's going to be playing week one. I haven't really seen anything or heard anything about that, but I'm almost positive he's hurt. He is definitely hurt. I'm going to take a look after I make some picks here. I'll click on his name and see. He's a guy that we were targeting. I was targeting really late in drafts. So, man, we had Jalen Polk all ready to go in the queue, and that didn't happen. We're gonna take another running back. I like Bucky Irving. We're gonna take him here. Maybe take another running back. Maybe take another tight end. Maybe get our third guy. Maybe we could probably wait there. Probably not going to push it too much with that. Now we could take another running back here. We're waiting on this guy. He's probably like, who do I pick here? Because I'm in agreement. I don't know who to take at all. We are coming up and we are in there. I do like to kind of sometimes take some of these 49er backups because if anything were to happen to who am I talking about here? I don't even know. Jordan Mason, Elijah Mitchell. I like taking those guys because if anything were to happen to Christian McCaffrey, those guys get inserted into a number one offense and you get them here around 13, 14, 15. That's what wins you leagues. That's what wins you best ball tournaments is when you have those guys. It doesn't really matter. I always say like the first couple rounds, everyone's going to have a really good team, obviously through the first 5-6 rounds. It's what you do in these later rounds that are going to win you the championships. Now let's take a look at the roster here. We have 6 running backs already. So we are done on running backs. We are now looking at 1 more quarterback, 2 more tight ends, and 4 more wide receivers. And wide receivers are coming off the board really fast, and there are not many left. But I wanted to hammer out these running backs and maybe take some shots. We got some pretty good wide receivers, but our 4th wide receiver is Brandon Cooks, and I'm not really liking that. But our running backs are Jonathan Taylor, Kieran Williams, Tyjae Spears, Chuba Hubbard, Bucky Irving, and Braylon Allen. Now, I think Bucky Irving is going to be really good. I think Chuba Hubbard, he's going to start. Tyjae Spears is going to split, but I almost like them. I like these running backs that split. Almost every running back does that, except for obviously like Breece Hall, Bijan, a couple other guys. Derrick Henry, he's not going to be 50-50 with anybody. It might be 95-5 if for Derrick Henry, but not really anybody else. So after my pick of Braylon Allen went Josh Downs, Tyler Conklin, Bo Nix, Quentin Johnston, Geno Smith, Will Levis. Now we're starting to see a lot of quarterbacks come off the board. In the last 9 picks, 6 quarterbacks have come off. And Will Levis, Geno Smith, Bo Nix, Bryce Young, Justin Fields, Luke McCaffrey. He wasn't even being drafted in best ball drafts, and here he is now in round 15 because of obviously news of Jahan Dotson getting traded. And as much as I like him, I think De'Ami Brown is probably the guy to target. I think he might start here, and I probably would take more of a shot at him than I would a Luke McCaffrey. And we need wide receivers, but let's take a look. We can get him. Maybe nobody's paying attention. I hate to say that because, obviously going to get fucked. But here at pick 179, I'm going to take my shot if we get the chance. Let's take a look at quarterback real quick. Who we got? There's nobody. Tom Brady. Let's see. Maybe we should take this guy.
Are you crazy?
Absolutely fucking not. All the quarterbacks are pretty much gone. There's pretty much absolutely nobody. Derek Carr, Daniel Jones, Drake May, Gardner Minshew, Russell Wilson are the only quarterbacks left. So that means a lot of teams already have their third quarterback. We're going to take some wide receivers with upside. We're going to take Jalen McMillan. This guy after me he took 2 quarterbacks. What a fucking idiot, dude. What a fucking idiot. And I get it because the quarterbacks are running out. And I have 2. I have Dak Prescott, Caleb Williams. Don't really care. Let's see. Who has 3 quarterbacks? Team 12 has 3. Team 9. Team 6. Team 5 has 4 quarterbacks. Don't fucking do that. Don't fucking do that, please. Oh, my goodness gracious. What is wrong with people? Team 4 has 3. Team 3 has 3. The only thing I'm worried about here, Team 1 kind of put himself in a little bit of a funk here. He obviously hasn't been paying attention on the draft board. So he's got 1 quarterback. It's Jared Goff, and he has nobody else. And literally, quarterbacks, Drake May, Gardner Minshew, Russell Wilson. Those are the 3. He's probably going to take 2 here, which then leaves everybody else like myself kind of fucked because there's not going to be another quarterback to take. I could take a shot maybe at like Aiden O'Connell, but it's not going to look pretty. And this guy that took 4 quarterbacks, that kind of sucks. And a lot of quarterbacks everybody has 3 quarterbacks, and it's around 16. Usually we see quarterbacks go way later. Sam Darnold can go sometimes in the 19th, 20th round. Obviously, that was with J.J. McCarthy breathing down his neck for the starting job. So now that McCarthy's kind of out of the way, Sam Darnold gets bumped up a lot. Let's go back to this 16th round here. We see Mason, who I talked about, Elijah Mitchell, 2 backups that are behind Christian McCaffrey. But if anything were to happen to these guys are going to be, potential league winners if McCaffrey misses, if he gets injured week 4, misses the whole year, these guys step into that role. I don't know who's probably the guy. I would say Mason. Mason looks pretty good. So I would say him over Mitchell. So getting them here in round 16 is huge. So he went, the guy who has 1 quarterback, he went with Gardner Minshew. So pretty much everybody has 3 quarterbacks except for a couple teams, and they're gonna. I don't know. This guy coming up he has Mahomes and Stroud, so he's pretty straight. He's probably going to take another quarterback to fuck me, which is totally cool. But quarterback wise, there's 2 that are starting: Drake May, Russell Wilson. Let's see what he picks, and we might just pick up the scraps from there. Running backs, we don't need to look at. Tight end, we could look at, but let's save that maybe for our last pick in the draft because clearly there's nobody up here. Let's stack up more on these wide receivers. And looking at wide receivers, there is fucking nobody. Drake May and Russell Wilson are still there, so we could potentially get one of these guys with the next pick. This guy's already taken, so we're going to take Tyler Boyd. I like Tyler Boyd. We'll take him. And Wan'Dale Robinson goes after team 12, and he is still on the clock. And then I am coming up, and I'm probably going to take a quarterback. I'm probably going to take Russell Wilson. I don't like it. I could take Drake May. I do not have a lot of Drake May. I just don't want to take Drake May. I don't think they're going to be good. So let's take Wilson. So we have our 3 quarterbacks. And now with these last 2 picks, we're looking at the guy I always like to draft is Malik Washington. We might be different. We got Malik Washington in a lot of drafts. So let's Let's not do that. So everybody pretty much has three quarterbacks except for two teams, and they're screwed because let's take a look at the quarterbacks that you can draft. Michael Penix Jr., which maybe if Kirk Cousins sucks or gets hurt again, he possibly could be in there. Well, Kenny Pickett, I don't think he's starting for the Philadelphia Eagles. Don't think so. I don't think McCarthy is going to get a come back from a quick recovery. Pretty sure Tom Brady doesn't play football anymore. Jacoby Brissett is there, so maybe that's okay. But these guys that have two quarterbacks are totally fucked. They do not have they're not going to be able to get a third quarterback. That you could get a third quarterback, but it's not going to be anybody that's going to be starting or that's going to be good. Or they're not all bad teams. So, or you're looking at the backup. The only thing I can think of is this guy's going to take Michael Penix Jr. Possibly, but I don't think so. I don't think so at all. Keep clicking on running back. We don't need a running back. We need wide receivers. So let's take a look before we come up. We can just take a look at the board and see who we could draft at wide receiver. You know, I see this. Oh, I see Whittington from the Rams is up here. We could take Roman Wilson to pair with Russell Wilson if he doesn't get taken, because he is pretty much almost the next guy to be taken for in the wide receiver tier. He's the next guy available. So if we can make it past these four guys, maybe we can get him. And then our last pick will be a tight end. We have Juwan Johnson here too. So if he's a tight end, obviously from the Saints, if you didn't know. But we have a couple guys. We'll put them up in the queue. Alan Lazard went. So we're a couple picks away. Greg Dulcich. You're going to start to see some tight ends maybe. A lot of these teams before me only have one tight end or two tight ends. So tight end is probably going to be their final pick. So I don't really have to worry about these two guys taking a Roman Wilson or a wide receiver. They're pretty much set. They have their 8. One guy has 9 wide receivers. The other guy has 8. And 7. Oh man, he's probably not even going to draft him. Oh, there goes Juwan Johnson. I knew that was going to happen. This guy, one of these guys was going to take that, and that's fine. I knew before me, I probably didn't have a shot at those players. So we're going to take Roman Wilson. I know he's been banged up a little bit, but maybe he'll come on. Maybe he'll do good. And I always think that the Steelers draft not that I think, I've seen that they do really well drafting wide receivers. Antonio Brown, George Pickens, Deontay Johnson, Chase Claypool had a little bit of a moment there. They always find that wide receiver through the draft. So I have faith in him, and I'm thinking that Roman Wilson is going to be the guy. As far as this last pick for my tight end position, I'm going to go with Zach Ertz. I hate to say that, but maybe the rookie isn't ready for the Commanders yet, and Zach Ertz takes over for a couple of weeks and has some pretty good games. You know, a rookie quarterback's favorite target is that tight end, and Zach Ertz is a veteran tight end. He's getting old. He's missed a lot of games, but I'm hoping maybe for a month or two, maybe he does well before he probably goes on IR, and I'll just have to deal with it. So let's take a look at the team. Let's see how round 20 is looking. Let's see how we're gonna close it out here. We're gonna see some no names, because I don't know anything. Right after me went Whittington from the Rams, who I was really looking at, but only if I had like a Ram stack. If I had Cooper Kupp, Matt Stafford, Puka Nakua, if I had those guys, then I would maybe look at this Whittington kid's way just to have a stack, or in case of an injury to Puka or Cooper Kupp, this guy's going to take over. But because I didn't have that stack and I had Russell Wilson, getting a cheap stack here with a Roman Wilson, maybe it works out, maybe it doesn't. We still haven't really heard anything about Brandon Ayuk. What's he going to do? Is he going to go to the Steelers? Is he going to stay with the 49ers? Very hard to determine what's going to happen there. Okay, so we're here in the 20th round, and I wanted to see who was going to be taken. And with pick 6 in round 20, we get J.J. McCarthy. Now, please, I don't understand why people do this. I think they think, oh, they have a chance to come back. They don't. It's not gonna happen. He is a first round rookie quarterback. They are never going to take a chance with him tearing his ACL or doing whatever, and then risking it by having him come back during the season, mind you. Maybe the playoffs. Not even the playoffs. I mean, that's 5 months away. There's no way McCarthy's coming back this year. Why take JJ McCarthy? Now, he might have left the draft and it because I think he only has two quarterbacks. Let's take a look. Yes, because he had three tight ends, eight wide receivers, six running backs, he only had two quarterbacks. So maybe he left the draft and his last pick was, JJ McCarthy, the guy that was next in the rankings. So and he didn't put anybody in the queue. So they think, oh, he needs another quarterback. So he has JJ McCarthy. Now that could have been an auto pick. I wasn't paying attention, but a terrible pick, mind you. I mean, we draft 20 players, he drafted 19. So everybody has an advantage over this guy already because he has one less player. Treylon Burks went after JJ McCarthy. Treylon Burks is an absolute bust of a pick here, I think. I don't think he's buried in that depth chart on the Titans. Eric Gray, A.T. Perry, Carson Wentz. Oh, man. Backup quarterback. And this is what happened. I think this guy took a fourth quarterback, too. This is his fourth quarterback. Yep, his fourth quarterback. So a lot of these teams might have left the draft and didn't put anybody in the queue. And because they only had two quarterbacks and all their other positions kind of filled, they went ahead and auto picked a quarterback for these guys. So two teams and Carson Wentz. I'm not saying that's going to be a bad pick because Patrick Mahomes can get hurt and Carson Wentz can be the backup. It's clearly not as bad as the JJ McCarthy one because he's not going to be playing all year. So I get the Carson Wentz one, not really too much because he's not going to play unless Mahomes gets hurt. And even if he did get hurt, he's still going to probably suck. And that pretty much does it. Tutu Atwell closes out round 20. We see a lot of bump ups here in this draft. So last time I came on here, we saw players more later in the rounds, and now they're jumping up. And for instance, Rashee Rice, round 3 here, middle of round 3. Do I think he's a third round pick? Probably. I think he's a solid pick. I don't think I would have taken him over Jalen Waddle. Yeah, I don't know if I would have did that. I might have taken a Jalen Waddle over Rashee Rice because I don't even have a reason for that. I just like Jalen Waddle. I like Jalen Waddle a lot. So Rashee Rice here in the third round, beginning of the third round, it was the fourth pick in the third round. And, that's a huge bump up because when we were doing drafts a couple weeks ago, teams were taking Rashee Rice. I was taking Rashee Rice in the later rounds. And I don't even have a lot of Rashee Rice because I was worried about his situation. So, yeah, you could take him in round 7 and 8, but if he misses 8 games, that sucks. That fucking sucks. So to see him now probably not getting suspended, he's being drafted in the third round here. And I hope that's true. I hope that the NFL or anything doesn't happen during the season because now teams are drafting them really high, that third, fourth round, fifth round. And what if he gets suspended during the season? What if round 4, they're like, all right, you got to serve a 6-game suspension. He could appeal it maybe, but he's going to serve it. And what if he misses weeks 5 through 11? Those are crucial weeks and you took him in the third round and that sucks. We see Cooper Kupp going now in the beginning or middle of round 2, somewhere around there, end of round 2, which, yeah, I get it. He's just on the wrong side of 30 and having a lot of injuries that have derailed him the last 2 years. I don't know. I don't know if I would take him here in the middle of round 2. He probably could have waited and got him in round 3. But nice job here by Team 5. He has CeeDee Lamb, Cooper Kupp, Jalen Waddle. So if Cooper Kupp can play and can stay healthy, he's got 100 plus receptions with CeeDee Lamb, 100 plus receptions for Cooper Kupp. He'll definitely have probably 80 to 90 catches with Jalen Waddle and over 1,000 yards with all those guys, and probably a lot more than that. So for his first 3 picks, outstanding job. Now the other guys I drafted wide receivers. There's Team 3 who drafted 3 wide receivers with their first 3 picks. I'm on Ross St. Brown, Nico Collins, Mike Evans. Do I think that's better than CeeDee Lamb, Cooper Kupp, Jalen Waddle? No, I think CeeDee Lamb, Cooper Kupp, and Jalen Waddle, if everything goes right, they will be Amon-Ra St. Brown. And Amon-Ra St. Brown, that's hard to say really fast, went with pick 3 over guys like Jamar Chase and CeeDee Lamb, like we talked about how we're starting to see Lamb and Chase kind of fall. because of their situations. Now, if CeeDee Lamb and Jamar Chase had their contracts, I'm sure they wouldn't be going this late. CeeDee Lamb would not make it past pick 2. He would be either the first pick or the second pick. All right, maybe even the third pick. But I think people are going to take Lamb over Hill, and I think they probably look at like age. Tyreek Hill is 30, where CeeDee Lamb is like, 24, 25 years old. So they look at the age there kind of, and I think that's the reason why Lamb goes over Hill, because Hill is great, but at the same time, now he's getting a little older. So maybe he slows up a little bit. Talk about some falls too. Jahmyr Gibbs coming here now in the second round. Puka Nacua now being drafted here in the mid-second round. So these guys were being taken with like that 9, 10, 11th pick of the first round, and now they're falling into, that second round picks 18 through 20, 21. So we see Deebo Samuel. He literally swapped places, him and Ayuk. Ayuk was being drafted in the second round, where Deebo was going in that, middle of the third. Brandon Ayuk went fourth round here, but Deebo Samuel, huge jump up for him as well. And nobody was taking quarterbacks until round 4, which is, I think, how it should be. If you can don't take Josh Allen in the beginning, in the middle of the second round. Don't do that. Just don't do that. It's not a good move, especially now with Stephon Diggs not there. Josh Allen shouldn't be going in the first 24 picks. It should not happen. Now, if you want to take him here in the middle of the fourth round, that's great. And then this guy also drafted CeeDee Lamb, Cooper Kupp, Jalen Waddle. He drafted Josh Allen, and then he got Dalton Kincaid in the next round. So this team 5. Big draft for him. Big draft for him. I like that a lot. He did a really, really good job. But also, too, he drafted 4 quarterbacks, Deshaun Watson and Will Levis. I probably wouldn't have drafted Deshaun Watson, maybe Will Levis, but he took Deshaun Watson and missed out on guys like Jalen Wright, Jaleel McLaughlin, Jalen Polk, Bucky Irving. He missed out on Josh Downs. I know Josh Downs is a little hurt, but he passed on those kind of guys, and that sucks. I would definitely taking one of these running backs for sure. Either Wright, McLaughlin, or Bucky Irving, even Ty Chandler. Give him a shot. I wouldn't have taken Deshaun Watson. I literally would have taken a bag of shit over Deshaun Watson. He's got problems in his arms and his throwing, or not in his arms, but his throwing arm. He's having some issues. So, and he sucked last year. I can't wait for this contract. Is he even going to play on this fucking deal? I mean, he obviously he's played on it, but he hasn't played good. Can you imagine? Like, they paid him all this money, guaranteed money over 5 years, I think it was, and this guy just isn't gonna fucking do a thing. They literally gave up draft capital, signed him, and now here the Texans made out with that with guys like C.J. Stroud and bolstered all their, had a ton of picks. I think that's who's the guy? Who's the defensive end? What's his name? Will Anderson? I can't remember his name. Sorry, Mike. All right, so before we get out of here, let's take a look at the team. All right, kicking it off, we have Dak Prescott, Caleb Williams, and Russell Wilson at quarterback. Our running backs are Jonathan Taylor, Karen Williams, Tajay Spears, Chuba Hubbard, Bucky Irving, and Braylon Allen. Our wide receivers are Stephon Diggs, Chris Godwin, Rome Odunze, Brandon Cooks, Jaleel McMillan. Did I say that right? No, I'm looking at somebody else. Sorry, Jalen McMillan, Diami Brown, Tyler Boyd, and Roman Wilson. Our tight ends are Sam Laporta, Jake Ferguson. Oh yeah, Zach Ertz. So there's the team. Not too bad. Again, I've been picking from this 11 and 12 spot. So it's very hard to get like good wide receivers, not good wide. I love my wide receivers. I think Stephon Diggs, I know everyone is off on Diggs, I guess. He's kind of, Tank Dell, Nico Collins, but you got to understand, injuries happen in the NFL, okay? And if Nico and Tank Dell, if they both get hurt, or if one of them gets hurt, Stephon Diggs instantly becomes a number 1 receiver in that offense. I'm not saying that Nico Collins and Tank Dell are going to get hurt. Anything can happen. Anybody can get injured at any time. I don't look at hey, I'm going to take this guy because if this guy gets hurt, or if this guy gets hurt, I don't do that. I'm just taking this guy's on an explosive offense. A lot of wide receivers were coming off the board. Sometimes you got to take the guy, unfortunately. I'm not saying it's an unfortunate pick because I kind of like Stephon Diggs here in the 4th round. I don't really like his Attitude, he's kind of like a drama queen to me, or drama king, whatever the fuck, whatever, however he floats, whatever. Again, with the same kind of deal with the Texans, we have Keenan Allen, DJ Moore, and Roma Dunze. Who's going to be the guy? I like my wide receiver, my starting three wide receivers. My other three wide receivers, though, are going to have to, let's see, Brandon Cooks. I don't mind. He's a veteran. He's on the Dallas Cowboys, my favorite team. And I paired him with Dak Prescott and Jake Ferguson. So I got a little Cowboys stack. So anytime they want to play the Giants and whip that ass, that's awesome. When they drop 40 points, cool. As long as it goes to these two guys, I'm cool with that. But I like Brandon Cooks. I think, obviously, with CeeDee Lamb out, I think Cooks becomes the number one wide receiver. So until Lamb signs, it's a good look. But I think Cooks is good either way. They don't really have a lot of wide receiver depth. Jalen Tolbert, he's on the team. But other than that, it's Lamb and Cooks and Jake Ferguson. So let's see if Brandon Cooks does anything. I'm hoping he does now that he's on my team. And other wide receivers are Jalen McMillan, De'Ami Brown, and Tyler Boyd. I drafted these guys as kind of like upside. Again, if Jalen McMillan, he's going to be out there. He's impressing along with Bucky Irving. They're both doing really fantastic in camp, and they've had some good preseason games, especially Bucky Irving. De'Ami Brown gets bumped up because Jahan Dotson got traded. So to take him here way, way later in this draft, you're not drafting this guy. He's a waiver wire pickup in redraft leagues. But if De'Ami Brown comes out and starts putting up crazy numbers, and we got him here in the 19th-ish round, I think it was, whatever round it was, I can't remember. We could take a look at the draft board if we really wanted to. I guess we could. Let's take a look at the draft board and see where we drafted this guy. Oh, nope, he was way before that. Round 16, I'm sorry, round 16. And we went really hard with running back. We went 6 running backs as usual, but I feel like they're really good. Jonathan Taylor, Kieran Williams, Tajay Spears has a lot of potential. He's going to be 50-50. Chuba Hubbard is going to be the guy in the backfield for the Panthers. So let's see what happens there. Bucky Irving, I think, is going to – I know Rachaad White is going to, probably be in control of that backfield, but I think Bucky Irving has a shot to have a couple of good games, and he's been doing really well with his touches in preseason, so I think he'll be good. Braylon Allen, they're going to have to give Breece Hall a little bit of a break. And again, barring injury, I'm not trying to be like that, but if injury were to happen, we now have the number one running back for the Jets on a pretty good offense. They got Garrett Wilson and Aaron Rodgers leading the way, a couple good other wide receivers, but we took this guy. And again, these guys, running back were coming off the board pretty quickly. After a certain round, running backs were kind of flying off the board. So I was kind of stuck taking these guys. And then looking at the running backs after Braylon Allen, there were absolute complete trash. A guy I had in the queue was Alexander Madison. He got taken. So we have a couple of risky picks, but that's what you got to do to win these. You got to have some risk. And if you don't take risk, it's never going to work. But that's going to do it. This is a $20 lineup for best ball draft on DraftKings. The $3 drafts is kind of like for practice for best ball, I guess, or maybe for redraft leagues. But again, don't draft. Don't come into the best ball drafts thinking like redraft league, like one quarterback, one tight end, you can't do that. You gotta be smart about it. The draft I'm currently in right now is a 8-hour pick. It's a slow draft. And I started it up, and the first pick, I think it was like 11:30 at night. I did this, and it filled up rather quick. And the first guy went and picked about a half hour into his pick, and he took CJ Stroud with the number 1 overall pick. So those are the rooms you want to get into against the fucking people that are absolutely wasted and just taking shots. Doing the middle of the day on a Saturday or Sunday, especially right before draft season, probably not the greatest idea, because you're going to get paired with a lot of good players. So if you're going to do it, also another tip is wait till 11 or 12 at night if you can stay up so you can play the drunkards. But all right, I'm going to take a quick break, and I will be right back. Thank you guys for tuning in. Appreciate all of you listening. Football is almost here, so maybe next week I'll come on and give you guys my MVPs and other awards that I usually place bets on. I usually wait until a couple days before the season starts to make those bets. Don't want to spend $100 on something and it's done before the season even starts. I usually even maybe right before the season starts, like the day before I put those bets in. I don't put them in right now. No way. I won't be doing anything next week. I have my big money league draft on Saturday, so I'll have everyone at my house. I have another draft Sunday, and that Labor Day, I'll be hammering some more best ball drafts, and that will be it. I'll probably spend Labor Day doing some bets as well. So, everyone that listens, happy holidays. Don't draft and drive, and happy drafting. I'll catch you guys next time.